Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it's happening. Rare earths are back on track. So for me, this looks like the best time ever to take advantage of the investment opportunity offered with the supply chain in EVs, electric vehicles, and the green energy in general. So I'm betting that the best time to get involved is right now, and considering what is happening today and what's already in the pipeline for the next years. So typically lithium stocks, they are the first space in the EV supply chain which are taking off, followed by other critical metals. So the spotlight right now is clearly on lithium and lithium stocks. And this was also the case back in 2012 when the EV revolution began, and which had a bull run in 2015 to 2018. But now it's different, because now the world is really taking off and being very serious about going all green. And the war in Ukraine is accelerating this move very strongly. So look at this chart here. Since last year, or the end of 2020, the lithium prices, they have increased tenfold to what Elon Musk calls insane levels. So he recently also tweeted that Tesla might actually have to get into the mining of lithium and also into the refining directly at scale because prices are so high. So a ton of lithium carbonate with a purity of 99.5% costs almost $80,000 this year. And back in 2012, it was less than $5,000. And this is exactly what is on the horizon, not only for lithium, but also for other critical minerals needed in this EV revolution. That means companies, end users going into the mining space. And it's already happening in the rare earth space as well. And end users are going into mining there, or they are investing directly at exploration and mining companies or processing companies. So even though we are now witnessing only lithium stocks to go up dramatically, the other critical metal stocks might follow very soon, I believe. And at the moment, I prefer stocks in rare earths and critical metals such as niobium, but also graphite. The reasons are simple. Sure, lithium is greatly needed and it's a great place to be as an investor, but with prices already being sky high, I prefer the metals and stocks next in line. And I believe that the fundamentals for rare earths or REEs, they're even hotter than for lithium. So the current lithium supply deficit is forecasted to go back into a surplus by 2025. And this story looks all the more different for REEs, as its supply deficit is expected to widen dramatically over the next years. So many more REE mines in the Western world are needed to go online. So new REE supply is urgently needed, which is, however, not as easy as increasing lithium output. There is a great article from McKinsey here showing that lithium reserves globally, they are massive, and that it shouldn't be much of a problem to increase lithium supply over the next years. And even though this production increase is happening too slow at the moment, and we are currently in a deficit for lithium, the production capacities will be increased substantially in the next years just to meet demand. And they will, most probably, they will be successful in doing this. So in 3 years, by 2025, the lithium supply deficit is expected to go into a surplus again. So my thesis is the following. When investors realize that it's not lithium, but metals such as graphite and especially rare earths that are the most crucial bottleneck for global EV adoption, then I believe that exploration and mining companies such as Commerce Resources, Saville, and Eagle Bay Resources, they are poised to become the go-to place for the creation of shareholder value in the EV supply chain. So I believe the best time to get involved is right now, when stocks are not flying high, but offering attractive buy opportunities. So it's, as we all know, it's buy low and sell high and not the other way around. On the left here, you can see how strong demand for rare earths are expected to grow over the next years. And here it is neodymium, which metal is experiencing the strongest growth as it's being used in EV motors and also in wind turbines as permanent magnets together with iron and boron. And on the right, you can see that the NdPr market is going into a deficit this year. And from 2027 on, this deficit is going to escalate and widen dramatically. So until 2027, that's only 4 years. So that's 4 years left to bring new REE projects into production to meet this strong demand. And with lithium, you don't see such charts because from 2025, as I already mentioned, the lithium market is forecast to go back into the surplus. So this big picture looks all the more different for rare earths because they are the real bottleneck. So if there isn't enough REEs, then there won't be any new EVs or wind turbines. So I believe that soon money that is made from the lithium boom will start to flow into the REE market as investors, they realize that REEs are much hotter fundamentally than lithium. So here we can see a basket of REE prices, which have more than doubled in the last 12 months, as you can see here. And after the strong price increase since April last year, prices were in a correction since February and are now trending higher again. So since 2020, the neodymium price has more than tripled from 300,000 renminbi to more than 1 million at the beginning of 2022. According to this chart. And the same picture we have for praseodymium price, which also has tripled from 400,000 renminbi to 1.2 million. And that's already a very strong bull market in the most important REE prices. But as we know, many REE stocks, they don't seem to be skyrocketing yet. Obviously, because many investors, they're still riding the lithium bull. So I believe that it's time to switch into the next big thing in the EV supply chain, which are rare earths and other critical metals. So look at this chart. The rare earth producer prices in China, they have reached levels that are close to the all-time high from 2011. And do you remember what was going on in the rare earth stock market in 2010? Yes, the REE stocks, they went exponential back then, and the prices were shooting high to really crazy levels, and the bubble burst shortly thereafter. Today, we are not far from these crazy high levels, which what they called it back then. And today, no one is really saying that today's prices are insane or in a bubble. No, I believe those prices are well deserved and might even surpass the 2011 all-time high. So you've probably heard about China's zero COVID policy and locking down their people and also their economy recently. And this, of course, has also affected supply of rare earths to the Western world. And on the right, you can see all the ships waiting to dock because of COVID. Because of the strategy of China with COVID. China has also locked down the rare earth mining and processing hub in the northern region of Inner Mongolia. And this is a very crucial hub for the production of rare earths for China. And that's where also the world's largest REE mine is located, the Bayan Obo mine. And this is having already a dramatic impact on rare earth supply. And prices may go up now even more with this lockdown and this supply crunch that is happening at the very moment. So in late March, China also, they closed the border to Myanmar, which is cutting the Chinese REE capacity by more than 25%, according to this article here. So Myanmar, they account for about half of China's rare earth mineral supply. And China is the world's largest rare earth producer, product exporter, as we know. So shipments from Myanmar, they have been suspended, and this is clearly having an impact on supply and probably also prices going forward. So last week, Jason Mitchell from Mining Technology, he published an article stating in the subheadline, as you can see here, that the Western world must draw up its own strategic plan for rare earths. Otherwise, China will be able to control the price simply by adjusting supply. And that's exactly what we are seeing right now here with the lockdowns and the supply crunch in China. If it's intentional or not, you may decide yourself. But this shows that prices are really poised to accelerate to a new all-time high in the future. And that could be actually the starting shot also for the rare earth stocks to perform. So this article, it also states that the Ukraine crisis has shown just how dangerous it is for the Western economies to become dependent on an autocracy for a mineral resource. In this case, it was, of course, Russia and natural gas. However, demand for REEs, they are expected to grow fivefold until 2030. And here's a great overview by Visual Capitalist showing that it's the rare earths which are facing the greatest supply risk concerning China. And they control not only most of mining supply, but also the refining of rare earths. So, and while Elon Musk is tweeting about Tesla to consider going into the lithium mining space, it's already happening in rare earths. Take a look at this recent headline from Reuters. First of a kind rare earth deal in Europe with EV parts supplier Schaeffler, April 19. So Schaeffler is a German car parts supplier with $1 billion market cap. The company is producing the electric motors for EVs, which of course include rare earths. And these motors are supplied then to the big car manufacturers in Europe. So apparently Schaeffler urgently needs rare earths to ramp up EV motor production. So it's the first time that a car manufacturer, or in this case, a supplier in Europe, is doing a deal to secure rare earths supply. And that's actually big news because it shows that this is the way to go forward, I believe. And that's end users doing deals with exploration and mining companies or with processors, as in this case, who then in turn do deals with mining companies. So they are giving money to speed up development of new mines. Now let's take a look into the deal a little bit more. Here there were no quantities or values were disclosed by Schaeffler, so it's unclear how much REEs were ordered. And when you look at the deal, it's no surprise that they didn't mention any numbers. So Schaeffler, they did a deal with REE-Tech or RETech from Norway, which company is processing rare earth carbonate concentrates from mines into separated rare earth. So such processing facilities outside of China are very rare right now. And in several countries, however, such processing plants, they are being built right now so that the mined REE concentrates, they can be separated in those facilities. Remember there are like 17 or so rare earth elements in the world, and the mined concentrates from the companies, they typically include many of those 17. So processing needs to extract and separate all those REEs which are wanted or desired by the industry. So that could be easily 2 or 5 or more than 10 elements needed to be extracted by sophisticated hydromet processing facilities, which are of course very expensive. So now let's find out which mine RETech is going to get the rare earths from. So apparently it's Vital Metals and its Nechalacho project in Canada. And according to October 2021 news, RETech and Vital, they have signed a 5-year offtake agreement. Vital will sell to RETech a rare earth carbonate concentrate containing 750 tons of neodymium praseodymium per year. which is contained in 2,000 ton per year total rare earth oxides, or TRIO. So from a 2,000 ton concentrate, they extract 750 tons of NdPr. So 750 tons of NdPr, that's not a lot when you consider that total NdPr demand is currently about 50,000 tons and increasing by almost 50% to 70,000 tons in 2025. So the 750 tons per year represents 75% of vital metals production capacity at its processing plant in Saskatoon, which is expected to start commercial production this year. But it's only going to be at the end of 2023 that the plant is expanded to double the capacity, and that's when RETEC will get 75% of Vital's production capacity. So Vital Metals share price increased tenfold between 2020 and today. They are listed on the ASX in Australia, and they have a market cap of around 250 million Australian dollars. So they are not yet in production. And so with those 750 tons that they are going to produce per year, they will be supplying about 1.5 of current demand, or 1% of demand in 2025. So that's not a lot. So obviously much more supply is needed. And it will happen, in my opinion, because more deals between the industry and mining companies or the processors, they're already being made. And I believe that more of such deals will be made in the future. So this deal between Schaeffler and RETEC, I believe, is just the beginning. It's the first of its kind in Europe. And yeah, it's like an idle deal. So you also need to know that IRMA, that's the European Raw Material Alliance, which is funded by the European Union government, they are sitting on 200 billion euros to speed up the production of critical minerals needed in the next years. Unfortunately, they cannot invest into projects or companies outside of the EU. So they are looking to fund first projects which are located in Europe. So here you can see the first slide of IRMA on their website, and it says that they have released an action plan to secure access to rare earth elements for European industry. So it's obviously, it's happening, ladies and gentlemen. They are ready to spend billions, if not hundreds of billions of euros. For example, a rare earth processing plant is being built right now in Poland to use mined material from the Songwe Hill deposit in Malawi, Africa, from Makango Resources. So IRMA is funding this plant in Poland. The share price of Makango, it has increased also more than tenfold between 2020 and 2021. So let's look at Songwe Hill in Malawi. It's hosting 21 million tons, averaging about 1.4% rare earths in measured and indicated resources, and another 27 million tons inferred at grades of 1.3%. So that's about 50 million tons. So do you remember what Commerce Resources has? Yes, 5 times as much at least. They have about 250 million tons with grades at about 1.8% Rio, which is 40% higher grade than Makango. So Commerce, they have one of the largest REE deposits in the world, and that's more than 100 years of possible supply. And most other projects in the REE space, they are typically only for a decade or two at best. So here's also an interesting article from April 28, and it says that alone Europe, they will need 35 times more lithium by 2050, at which time Europe is expected that up to 75% of Europe's demand for those critical energy metals could be met with recycling. So it's interesting to note that REEs, they are very difficult, if not impossible, to recycle, but other metals such as lithium, cobalt, nickel, copper, they are much easier to recycle. So we will need constant supply of REEs. The article, it also states how much metals are needed by 2050 annually per year in Europe alone, such as 4.5 million tons of aluminium, which is 33% more than today, or 1.5 million tons of copper, which is 35% more than today, or 400,000 tons of nickel, which is twice as much as today, or 800,000 tons of lithium, which is 35 times more than today, or here in red, you can see 3,000 tons of neodymium, dysprosium, and praseodymium, which is 700% to 2,600% more than today. And that's really very, very big numbers for the rare earth space. So you see the largest demand increase is with lithium, but it's followed by rare earths. And as we have seen, lithium production capacities, they are expected to be expanded significantly over the next years, and the market will turn into a surplus in 2025, at which time the rare earth market deficit will widen dramatically. So it's all about REEs going forward and securing new supply for the next decades. So what we are seeing today is arguably, I believe, the best fundamental scenario for rare earths and companies such as Commerce, Saville, and Eagle Bay. And I'm very confident that all companies, they offer significant upsides going forward. And it's already happening in the REE space. Deals are being made, processing plants are being built, new supply will be needed, and a lot of new supply is needed. So I'm a shareholder of all these three companies presenting today, as I believe that the future belongs to them and that soon money made from the lithium bull may switch over to the rare earth space. So yeah, now I'm really looking forward to hearing from those companies directly. I think we start with Commerce and Chris Grove. And if you're interested in more information, go to rockstoneresearch.com, where you can find my latest report on Commerce and also the rare earth market. It was in March. I don't know if you can see it right now.
Yeah, we can.
So it was in March. I did my last report on Commerce, and it's on the website. It's about their latest news about producing concentrate samplings for the industry, and it also shows other industry players and the market in general, and it also a lot of charts. So take a look at it, and yeah, Chris, I think you can go now.